Yeah. I mean, feel free to record.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. So I'm going to record it to
Recording
the
in
cloud.
progress.
Thank you, robot lady. All right, so now we know it's happening. All right, so
perfect.
my first, and again, thank you so much for taking part in this interview. My first question would be that do you remember what your favorite games were as a kid?
StarCraft, Halo.
And when did you start playing games? How young you were? Like some people started later, some people start gaming earlier.
Probably
What
like
about you?
5 years old.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
You played StarCraft at 5?
Well, no, not that, but like that sounds so stereotypical. But no, not so it was like the old Game Boy, right? What was it called? The Game Boy Color, something like that. It was the oldest one, yeah.
And what memories do you have about playing these games?
Having fun, being challenged. Yeah, that's primarily the first things.
And what did these games teach you about literally anything? About life? Some people say that games are preparing you for life. Some people say that games are not teaching us anything. Some people are in the middle ground. So they teach us something, but they also don't teach us anything. What about you? What do you think?
I think it depends on the kind of game. If it's a game maybe with a specific message, like I think there are some games out there like Hellblade, or games that just want to tell a story. I think you can take lessons from that story, just like you would from any story or any fable of some kind. So some games they're just not really meant to, teach you anything, like pinball or something like that. But I think some games also intrinsically also teach you things about logic. I mean, look at Tetris, for example, and Minesweeper and so forth. So I think it depends on the game.
And the games you played. So again, what was your favorite game as a kid? Because you mentioned quite a few.
I mean, kid.
I know it's a difficult question. I know.
I didn't really have favorites until I could, like, I guess, start thinking better.
Okay,
so,
that makes sense.
Yeah, at that point, StarCraft and Halo, yeah, those were my favorites. Yeah.
And StarCraft taught you what? I'm interested in this. I used to play StarCraft too, and I'm just curious about your opinion.
Management, really, and how to multitask and think, but also it was like the first online game I played. So there was a sense of community as well. I mean, interacting with people. Outside of ladder games and ranked or whatever, there's also like custom games where you can just play whatever you want with other people, and that was pretty powerful for me.
It's also like you said, it's freedom, but also community, sense of belonging, and management, micromanagement, macromanagement, and so forth. So many different things. And speaking of these, let's talk a little bit about your streaming career. And could you tell me more about when and why you started your streaming channel? You can talk about Twitch, YouTube, it's up to you, whatever you are comfortable sharing with me.
Oh, okay. So as far as Twitch and YouTube goes, I really started about almost 2 years ago. And this was in part because I followed the advice of another content creator, just to try it out for a year and see where that takes you. If you don't like it, you can just leave it alone, go away. Or if you do like it and it turns out well, you keep going. As for why I do it, it didn't really start out like, oh, I want to make content to make money or whatever. I just want to make content to help other people. To teach, because as far as like this game goes that I'm playing right now, you can teach people.
Yes.
And at the start, it's just me teaching friends or learning with friends or teaching people who want to know what I learned. Those videos over time, at least on YouTube, evolved into teaching a wider audience. So you can tell probably from the early video, language is very coarse, to put it mildly. not exactly
Yes.
you know meant for a wider audience, but then you know slowly transitions into a more formal kind of address, like hey guys, what's up, and so forth. But yeah, that's how I started.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but I got this idea when I watched your YouTube channel that, and you're talking about ESO, right?
Right.
So ESO is a game. They're literally they don't explain you anything, so you have to discover everything on your own.
Oh, have you played it?
Yes, I do.
Oh, you have. Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, I'm an okay-ish player.
Okay.
I wouldn't say I'm good. I'm not the worst, but I'm not good.
If you have a PhD, you can definitely like be really good at ESO.
No. There's always a 12-year-old boy or girl who's better at you, and they just literally destroy your character. Also, I do not have the understanding that you have about the game mechanics. So I was just wondering that when you uploaded your first video or when you streamed your first video, what reactions did you get?
Reactions?
Or comments or feedback,
nothing.
maybe? Nothing?
It was just videos meant like as inside jokes, or maybe just as a recording of my experience with friends. Yeah, that's it. It wasn't again meant for a wider audience. I did nothing with the SEO. I did nothing with the tags. Nothing with the description. Nothing to promote it.
And I got this feeling when I watched your videos that you love this role when you're against the whole world. So you are alone and you have to defeat and outsmart like a group of players who are trying to destroy your character, and you are like hiding. So it's also about strategy, and it resonates with what you just said about StarCraft and other games, that you had to be, you know, smart when you play that game. You have to have a strategy. So I thought when I watched your videos that it's also you're teaching about strategy, right? Or positioning, if you will.
Yeah, to a degree. If you're referring to certain modes of activity, like raiding, yeah, it's about strategy. It's about thinking outside the box, doing what's good for you.
Yeah, that's definitely. And what are your favorite memories from your early days as a video game streamer?
I guess knowing that someone learned, at least one person learned, or took benefit, or at least cared about what I was talking about. That's the best one, honestly. Yeah.
And I think you stream other games too, but we can talk about ESO in particular. Why did you choose to do ESO streaming? Why did you decide? So why did you choose this particular game?
By the time I had decided to become a creator, I was already invested into this game, and I've been playing this game since its basically inception, since beta. So basically, I just had investment already, so that's why I started with this game. And also, you know, if you talk, I mean, you're gonna conduct interviews with other streamers, probably, right?
Yeah.
They're also probably share their experiences on maybe. I think a lot of streamers tend to be variety streamers, and they tend to bemoan the lack of growth, or perhaps like legitimate concerns of discoverability, especially on Twitch. But then when you get into how they stream and what they stream, you'll probably find out that they jump around categories or games quite a bit. So this is definitely a pitfall a lot of streamers get into that I avoided by staying in one game primarily. So that's also another reason why I guess I stayed. At least numbers.
And you also take a critical approach. So you are criticizing ESO too because of the lags or this weird stuff that's happening when it's like the server is not really working, right? And your character is like, you try to do something, but it's lagging so bad that
this is a PhD professor interviewing me about ESO.
It's not really working. So you're also kind of like reflecting on not just the game mechanics and the game mechanics and strategies, but also some kind of like more about the company behind it, right? That they should put more effort in like creating a better experience for PvP players. And I was just wondering that, is it something that you do on purpose because you want to share your critical view, which is very constructive, of course, with other players, or is it something that just came out of frustration?
I think it's a mixture of everything. I mean, you wouldn't be frustrated with something you don't love, or be frustrated with someone you don't care about, you know. So it's kind of the same thing here. As for the criticism, it depends.
Yeah, it
depends.
definitely. I love that. And when you started, so when did you start? 2 years ago as a streamer, or what was that? I'm sorry, I missed that part. When did you start streaming?
About mid to late 2019. So late
When starting out,
2019,
when starting out, did you think you would make it this far?
No.
Why?
I guess there's two reasons why I didn't think I'd make it this far. First reason is I don't like to have any expectations. Because like if you have very high expectations, you'll be crushed. I think that's natural for anything, whether it's for work or for a job or for streaming or whatever. I think you'll be crushed if you have high expectations. So you should. I just expected no one to care.
Over here.
The second reason is because I don't know. I find myself a boring person. So.
I can totally see that. Yeah, I mean, I like this answer. You're being very honest and transparent. I appreciate that. So that's what indicators did you focus on when you started, streaming or later? Some people focus on how many viewers they have or how much money or other stuff they get as donations. Some people have other preferences. What was your approach? So how did you measure your performance, if you will?
There's a variety of tools I used in the past, including YouTube analytics, and of course, Twitch has its own analytics, which can be a little spotty. And as far as that goes, I just ignored it. I didn't really use it. I just said.
So you go with the flow.
Yeah, I just go with the flow. A lot of people put too much stress or emphasis on numbers. It is a numbers game at the end of the day, but it also depends what kind of numbers we're seeing. So, for example, I thought of it like this: if you have 100 people watch you, but none of them donate money or none of them really, sub or anything, are you successful? Because a lot of people would consider, 100 viewers, that's a lot of viewers, but I don't know if that would be considered success. On the other hand, if you have 30 viewers and you're like having a very steady income somehow through 30 viewers, I think that's successful. So it depends, and a lot of people, I think you'll talk to other streamers again, they'll emphasize follower count, and that also depends on platform. Like Twitch follower count, that doesn't matter. You'll see on Twitter as well or social media where streamers are kind of like marking their achievement or progress through follower count on Twitch. Well, I got $1,000, $2,000, but that doesn't matter because it's not like YouTube where the number of subscribers can matter. Like because Twitch isn't YouTube and YouTube isn't Twitch, so it depends.
There's an urgent task for you.
All right, and how do you use Twitch and how do you use YouTube? So do you have? And you said that you go with the flow and you don't really have expectations. You just enjoy doing this. But I was wondering that do you have a different strategy for YouTube and different strategies for Twitch? And let me use an example here, so it's probably better. So do you have like kind of like an expectation that, okay, this is kind of the video that I will upload to YouTube, and this is type of video that I will not upload to YouTube because it's not gonna, I don't know, attract that many people, it's just not that useful. And maybe there are certain, strategies that you're trying out and you share it on YouTube, maybe you don't. So do you have this kind of approach to these different platforms? Like you said, Twitch is very different than YouTube. And I was just wondering, content-wise, do you have a different approach?
Well, content-wise, streaming is showing what happens behind the scenes. I would say, for at least this game. Like for YouTube videos, you would upload like the final results. Let's say a successful raid or some sort of result that people don't really get to see the work behind. That's why you would go watch the streams for, right? And you'll notice that with other games, not just ESO, where even FPS games, you'll see a montage or compilation of really good kills or really awesome moves, but you don't see the work that goes behind those things, right? So that's kind of the content focus, but at the same time, going back to StarCraft, it's about management. And I would say management content is based around time and how well you can use that time. And that's pretty crucial.
How much time do you... sorry.
No, go on, please.
How much time do you have creating this content? Because I know it takes so much time that often people don't know how much time you spend on only one video, right? Editing and so forth. How much time do you spend on creating content a week? Because if you live stream, right, it's still a lot of work because you have to read the comments, you have to interact with the people that are watching your streaming, and on YouTube you might answer some comments or you might get some questions. So I was just wondering, on a weekly basis, how much time do you spend on your streaming channels, creating the streaming channels?
Depends. Right now it's in the flux because I'm trying to finish my last degree, so I don't have much time. This is my own race. So I have more time to stream, more time to make videos. But if I'm going I plan on going full time this summer. So ideally, I'd be spending. It also depends on the kind of video. Like if it's a build video or guide, it could take anywhere between 3 to 6 hours. The entire process. We're talking about recording, editing, then rendering, and then uploading, and making sure everything's right on the video description, the tags. That's 3 to 6 or so hours, 3 to 7 hours, depending on the video. If it's like a short video or a clip of some kind, it takes like less than maybe 10-15 minutes.
And who taught you to do these
self-taught.
things?
It's self-taught. It's struggleless.
So you watched other YouTube videos?
Oh yeah.
Took notes?
Yeah, took notes, started memorizing things, asked other people. As for streaming hours, again, I don't have a schedule really. It can be, I mean, just before this interview, I did a 16-hour stream. And I went to sleep at 10 a.m. Now I'm here doing an interview with you.
Well, I feel so bad.
No, you don't have to feel bad. It's my choice. But it really depends on what I'm doing. I mean, it could be anything. Again...
And you are a student right now.
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
So you have to balance between this, like studying and getting your degree, and also doing something that you like doing, which is streaming.
Yeah, pretty much.
And you know, with COVID and everything, like the world is, it feels like it's on fire. But it's been on fire for a while, and I was just wondering, maybe because of COVID or maybe because of something else, has your streaming channel changed in recent months or even years? Do you have a different approach now, or do you focus on different things because of what's happening or what feedback you get?
No. I don't think COVID really changed the nature or course of the content. I think definitely it may have affected, like the ripples of it may have affected other things indirectly, like viewership. I think early 2020 to late 2020, I think a lot of people experienced spikes in viewership. But I don't think that, and that may like motivate people to change the course of their content and so forth, but for me, I don't think it really did.
Okay, let's talk about the things that you like about streaming and the things that you don't like about streaming. So let's start with the positives. What are some of the things that you like about streaming or creating content for YouTube?
I have the freedom to upload whatever I want. That's really it, and I enjoy doing what I want. Whereas opposed to maybe a typical 9-to-5 job or maybe a different career path, which I can choose as well, could be much less restrictive. And also,
and what are some of the things that you don't?
What I don't like? I guess if I was in like the ideal situation right now with everything being finished with my work and my studies, and I don't think there'd be any negatives.
That's great.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear it. And what are what are the biggest challenges for you as a streamer? But basically, you answered this question already, because time, right? How much time you have?
Yeah. And how to use that time.
All right, let's talk about your streaming style a little bit, and then we can talk. Or we can also, I will answer any of those questions if I miss something. So just please feel free to add more questions or correct me if I'm wrong. But how would you describe your streaming style in general? So some people see themselves as entertainers. Some people
what's my
see
streaming
themselves
style?
as educators. Some people use different categories.
Yeah.
What is your unique style?
Yeah, what's my style? I don't have a style. I don't have a style.
And but the feedback or just some comments you get, what do you think? What is other people's impression about you as a gamer, as a streamer?
Well, there's some feedback from, because people are watching this interview, or not watching, but like listening to the interview. But I think most of them are joking. I don't know. I guess one person said chill or relaxing. That's about straight up and honest. Okay, but of course, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. That's good. So you are entertaining, but it's also like relaxing to watch your
Fuck
channel.
you guys. I'm not toxic.
You do something that sparks joy in your viewer's life.
I don't know if I spark joy in anyone's life.
Okay, but like watching you. Okay,
Do I spark joy in your life?
But yeah, have you ever gotten some criticisms from your viewers or from your followers?
Oh yeah. I mean, criticism can come from anywhere. I mean, it's the internet as well. So the anonymity afforded to people do make people behave as if there are no consequences or anything. Sometimes, most of the time there isn't. And yeah, I get that. Criticisms from my like, I don't know if you describe them as followers or viewers. I guess like people who come by for the first time, they often have criticism like, oh, I don't like your voice, or like, why are you using a fake voice, or like, and of course they'll have critiques about appearances and whatever, or behavior, or how they perceive me. But as for my followers, I don't know. Like, I don't think they have any.
Fake voice. There's so much to unpack there when they use that. What do they mean by fake voice, or what? Like, I don't fully understand it.
They don't believe that this is my real voice. So, and
how can you pretend? Oh,
I guess there's software out there that can like change or modify your voice, but I don't think. I see you're puzzled by this, but yeah, I mean, it's just random, not critiques, even just attacks. I mean, but from my followers and viewers, I don't think I get attacked. No, they can disagree with me and stuff like that, and that's fine. I'm more than open to being disagreed with or being criticized for my thinking, as long as it's like not an ad hominem, Yeah.
Who needs enemies when you have the internet, right? So
I mean, pretty much.
A stranger, Joe 22 can say anything. So they said these things about it, that your voice is too deep, or I'm so sorry, I'm just so puzzled and like, what the heck is happening here? Because it's just, why would you fake your voice? I don't understand. Like, okay.
I don't know either. I don't really find my voice that special, I think, so I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't know.
All right, so this is the internet also. So positive. So this is kind of like a negative experience when they criticize some people criticize your voice, or they accuse you of something that they are. I don't know what they get these ideas, but probably I don't know. But they accuse you of something that you're clearly not doing. But What are some positive experiences, recent experiences? Maybe a message or a question that was a very positive experience for you. A conversation that you had with a viewer or a streamer, a follower, or whatever. Can you recall any positive, very positive experience?
Yeah, just 20 minutes ago, people saying hi. I think that's pretty positive.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah,
On the
people say, how are you? I
internet,
mean, I'm pretty
thing.
happy when people are saying hi and how are you or talking. There's people who sometimes, message me, no, thanks for the videos and stuff like that, which is nice. At least it helps somebody out there somewhere. And positives, I'm just having fun with people. There's a bunch of negative stuff that comes with this, for me at least. But there's also, an even amount of positive stuff too. At least most of the time, yeah.
The negatives. So other than criticizing your voice, there are other negative comments, and you don't have to share anything that you don't want to, but you just said something interesting here that there are other negatives. So I was just wondering that there are specifics, or just in general you get a nasty comment or a nasty, just message from someone.
So as far as the internet goes, once you conjure up or cement some sort of perception of an individual or whatever, organization, whatever, from a snapshot or a moment or a video, you kind of have that first impression in your mind about maybe what kind of person this is. So a lot of people, I think, have had their perception of me as a negative individual or a toxic individual, which is fine. You can't really change people's minds, and that kind of leads to other things where maybe disagreement, where normally it wouldn't be a big deal, will lead to interesting things like death threats or kind of like deflection of the issues that you may share. There's people out there that hate me so much that when I shared things about me having a mental illness and stuff, they said, no, you're faking it. You know what I mean? So I mean, yeah, there's negative stuff like that, and I've gotten all those, but that's okay. It's comes with it.
Yeah, that's a recurring theme, I think, from other interviews that I did, that once you reach a certain level and people start recognizing you, get a lot of hatred, no matter what you do. If you do something, that's why you get critiques. If you don't do something, that's why you get. So you can't win. Literally, you can't win, because you can't do anything against it. You will get that eventually. So.
For me, it's more difficult because what I say or do will probably reflect badly on others around me. So it's harder for me to kind of like hit back. If that makes sense.
Can you be a little bit more specific? Yeah, I think I get what you mean, but I'm not sure.
So
what you can.
I think with content creators, and I don't like this about the internet or really any kind of thing involving some sort of personality cults. People tend to put content creators or certain personas on pedestals only to kind of tear them down later. If that makes sense. So like if you do of course there's the whole notion of accountability and responsibility for your actions and words. That's a legitimate thing, but at the same time there's some really silly things that I think people idolize people for, or that they shouldn't idolize people for. Just because you make a video, just because you make YouTube videos, you shouldn't treat that person differently or anything, right? But people do that. So if I, for example, start being mean or very, very, or like behaving like the people who do behave like that towards me, towards other people, that's gonna be like, oh wow, look at this guy, he's supposed to be a model, he's supposed to be like whatever, and that'll be used to attack me or to like cast some doubt on other people who are involved with me. So like, if you hang out with a bully, what would people assume about you? You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And do you think that there are people idolizing you and you're uncomfortable with that?
Yeah, I think, I don't know why people would. I'm like literally nobody. You know, I only have 22,000 followers on Twitch, almost 28,000 subscribers on. I'm like nobody compared to the bigger people, right? I don't know why that is. So there was I can share this one experience with you, right? And I don't know. That might be watching. I don't care if they're watching, but it made me a little uncomfortable. It made me realize like the extent people are like obsessed with this idea in their head, whether it's a negative idea or a positive idea. Like this guy came into, you know what Discord is? I'm like a voice channel, like a voice channel. Okay.
Yeah.
Like Zoom, but let's say okay, this guy came into Zoom or a voice channel, and you know I was just like telling, you know, I was just, you know, kind of just relaxing with other people, and then this guy starts asking me about things that most people wouldn't know, or like, you know what I mean, like, and whenever I would try to like answer the questions, he'd finish the answers, like it was just it was just really weird. I don't know. And there's other people who like, it's not just with me, it's also with other content creators I, you know, talk to. They take whatever I say as like an absolute, and that's kind of really weird to me. Yeah, I don't know. And then that causes other people to point to me and be like, "Oh, this guy's telling people what to do," and I'm just like, "What? What are you talking about?" You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's just weird.
So
I don't like that.
they basically put you in a box that is just literally in their mind, and it has nothing to do with reality or with the fact that who you really are, and they treat you based on this and treat you in a way that is based on a false perception.
I think everyone does that. Just with the internet, it's more extreme because it's just more extreme because it's, I don't know how to describe it. Yeah, it's just more extreme. Yeah.
What does it mean to be a successful streamer for you? Because you don't consider yourself as kind of like a big fish. You said that other people have more followers.
Oh yeah.
But you have a very solid, well, not just solid, it's a kind of a big number compared. So I took a look at other numbers too in case of other streamers, and you have high numbers. So I was just, but then you said that you are basically not really a big fish, if you will.
Yeah, nobody.
But why do you think that? Why do you think that?
Because it's objectively and mathematically true. I mean,
do you see yourself as a successful streamer? Whatever success means to you, it depends. It's personal, right? And subjective.
Greetings. Let's do some business.
I don't know, chat. Am I a successful streamer? I'm like watching, like turning to you guys for answer. Sorry, I asked the people watching, am I a successful streamer?
Okay.
No, I don't think I'm a successful streamer yet. There's that yet. There's always that yet with I think content creation. At first you have a goal, and then when you meet that goal, there's already the next goal kind of waiting for you in terms of the mindset, or at least my mindset. Content creation is like a mountain, a never-ending mountain. You know, you're never satisfied. So I don't think I'll ever be successful. I'm sure there's people out there who have 1 million subscribers and think, oh, I want 2 million. And here I am thinking, oh, I want 50,000. Then once I hit 50,000, I'm like, oh, I want 100,000. So I'll never be satisfied. And within the context of satisfaction, I guess I'll never find success, because satisfaction means success to me.
But you do it for fun because you like it, right?
Oh yeah.
So isn't that rewarding already, or isn't that already that, okay, I'm a successful person because I can do what I like doing, and despite okay, and there are some people who are getting nasty, but other people really like my work, and they can learn from me, and they might give me advice, or they might give me suggestions too. So isn't that already kind of like what a successful streamer is?
I guess. I mean, we can probably delve into the philosophy of what success is.
We can. So
quite
please,
a bit
please.
within the societal context, or by personal standards or anything.
I care about your personal view, so
Okay.
that's what I'm curious about. That how? Okay, so let's go back to the basics, right? How do you define success?
I would say happiness or satisfaction, as I said earlier.
Do you get do you get these things out of streaming?
Yeah. I think they're more temporary, but yeah, there's moments. So yeah, there will be successful moments, and of course everything else, like, I don't know, success is like constant thing, but it's like events. They're events. That makes sense. Like, I think we often talk about success as a state of being, more so than it is about, milestones or events. That makes sense.
Absolutely. And you have these milestones or don't? Because on the one hand, you said that you're going with the flow and you're enjoying what you're doing, and you focus on things that you like doing or you want doing. On the other hand, you were talking about these other things that, there are milestones, or there are things that you can never ever achieve. So you always have this this feeling that you could do better, you could be even more successful. So it's like a never-ending cycle, right?
Yeah.
So you said these two things, and I was just wondering whether you see a connection between the two, or maybe I just made
between the two?
Yeah, because there's a tension between this. What you just said, that you are enjoying this and you're doing this, and you're not focusing on too many things because you just, you like it, which is perfectly great and it's good. On the other hand, you also mentioned just like 2 minutes ago that there are milestones, or you were talking about milestones, or you were talking about this, like, you can never ever be successful enough. There's always more that you could do. And there are always bigger fish, right, in a pond, if you will. That you were also mentioning that you are nobody compared to other maybe more successful streamers. So that's why there's like this kind of, maybe there's a contradiction here, but maybe I'm wrong.
I guess, yeah, and within some, I guess what I get what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. But maybe both states or both perspectives can exist at the same time without really contradicting. Like, I mean, like, because when I said I'm not nobody, I'm like nobody. That's objectively, mathematically speaking, right? That's correct. Doesn't mean I'm sad about it or happy about it. It just is a fact, right? It doesn't mean I'm not successful in life, or successful or not successful, or have successful moments, don't have successful moments. I wouldn't say.
Yeah, the thing is that people wouldn't follow you on Twitch or on YouTube if they didn't like the work that you put out on the internet. That was my point, and that's why I think it's important that you are saying that there are these milestones. That, okay, so if you reach, I don't know, 100,000 followers, that's when you, objectively speaking, successful. Or what is there a number, or like a kind of like a, because it's also kind of like a numbers game, right? That what is a number that would mean success to you, or that would mean that you are a big fish? Like 100,000, 150,000, I don't know. I'm just spitting out numbers, totally random numbers.
That's hard. I think that's kind of diverging between what my standards for a big fish would be and what other people's standards for a big fish would be. Again, I don't think there would be a specific number for me, by my standard. Because there's so many people in the world, and I think other people's standards, they like you said, it could be anywhere between 100,000 to a million, 10 million, right? So, I guess no definitive answer on this one. Yeah.
But you're definitely someone who is streaming games that you enjoy, and you are not streaming games that you would not like to play. And I was just wondering, because there might be other people who only stream games that they know will attract a lot of people, and they don't really care about their game, but they just want to attract more people, have more viewers, have more followers. And based on what you said, you're the opposite of this person.
I don't like that. That's terribly unhealthy in my opinion. Because there's a certain point at which the quality of your content or how you conduct yourself is severely affected by your mental state or like your unhappiness. You know, people are going to know this eventually. And I've seen this happen with other content creators, especially for ESO, where they're still playing the game because they invest a lot in the game, but they're not feeling it anymore. So their viewers aren't feeling it anymore. And they're just kind of in the stagnant state where nothing's growing, and at the same time, they're not really, you know what I mean? But yeah,
are you a happy person?
No. Yeah, but I get the mentality of like wanting to stream something popular, but maybe you don't like it. But I think that's a pretty bad way to go about things. Yeah, I think that's at that point. Why are you streaming? You know, why aren't you just getting a normal job? Well, not normal, but like a 9-to-5 job that you don't like, or picking a career path you don't necessarily like, but you feel peer pressured into doing. You know, like any STEM career or something you don't like. Really, what's the point? Because the freedom in streaming is, or making content on the internet. It's about what you want to do. You know, you're not living for the content. You're not living to make the content. You're making the content because you're living. If that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Would you be a full-time streamer? So when you're done with your studies,
yes,
would you become a full-time streamer?
This summer. Yeah, I plan on going full-time this summer.
Only ESO or other games too?
Primarily ESO, but there's I still do other games on the side. I've experimented, I've dipped my toes. That's good. Always want to diversify.
What is other than having fun and following you on or watching your live stream, and just a lot of people like that, just watching someone play games so they can learn from them. Other than that, what do your viewers get out of your videos and your content? So I don't want to influence you, but I will give you some examples. So I will influence you.
Okay.
So maybe strategies or builds or abilities or races, or because some races are better in PvP, some races are not that good when it comes to PvP, or some classes are better in PvP. And correct me if I'm wrong, that you're primarily focusing on PvP in ESO, right? PvE. Okay, then I'm totally wrong. Okay, see,
No, you're good. You're fine.
I'm saying these things that are totally inaccurate. So, do they get out of this that you teach them or you show them something that they could try in ESO and they could be more successful or more, I don't know, satisfied with the game, or they are following you because they like watching you play?
Let me ask
if
them.
That makes sense.
What do you think? I mean, direct from the source, I guess. My assumption, based on what people have told me, would be because they just want to know more. That's really it, or learn something. Or, in some cases, be engaged or be talked to about certain subjects that maybe some other people aren't talking about. Right. And that's really
like what subject? Could you just share a few examples?
Well, okay. So there's sometimes how should I say this? This is hard to explain. I'll try to explain it as the best I can. So in ESO, there's like two sides. I think honestly with any game really, there's two sides to the game. There's a very positive side and there's a very negative side. But ESO, I think it's overwhelmingly positive in terms of feedback and also kind of the viewpoint of things. And that kind of tends to drown out negative things, or negative feedback, or negative thoughts or critiques, which is fine to a degree. Whereas, you know, a lot of these critiques or things are attacks, really, and not really well thought out constructive criticism. But they're often constructive criticism made by people. But that's not really talked about because it's unpopular to talk about stuff like that to a wider audience. Because at that point, you yourself might get labeled as negative or toxic or as part of the crowd that just goes on attack for no reason. So yeah, I mean, there are topics like ranging from maybe the you know, the gambling in the game, like crown crates. That's basically gambling in my opinion. And you know, and there's also topics about like what the community, or at least what a large part of the community is like, or what the experiences of that community has been. Like, you know, it's not just endgame players being toxic, it's also a large part of the casual players being toxic. So there was a recent video, I think it was a premier example of this example you're asking for. I believe now it has almost 60,000 views or something about this subject. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
I will check that out, okay, because recently I didn't have, unfortunately, time to check this out, but I will. All right, you mentioned in the beginning of the interview, so I'm looking at the time, I want to be mindful, and I want to respect your...
I am free for as long as you want.
You slept like 2 hours, so I'm like, oh my god.
No, I'm free.
I'm bad with numbers.
Take your time.
So I was just like, okay. So you mentioned in the beginning of the interview role models or people who helped you or maybe inspired you. And I was just wondering that do you have any role models or any, maybe not role models, but I will use this word, role model in the streaming community that you think as a role model, or you learn from them, or you are curious about their advice or opinion or their feedback and so forth?
Within the context of learning from people, not like role models, but like within the context of learning from people, I learn from everybody. You know, I'll watch people, like other streamers or other YouTubers, what they're talking about, how they're, you know, editing their videos or how they're streaming. I mean, there was a streamer recently that amazed me, and she's a streamer that I haven't heard about at all recently, you know, within her category. And she's like doing this really cool streaming stuff that, you know, it gave me so many ideas. And you know, it's like she's not a Twitch partner, she's not, by I guess society standards, you know, or whoever's standards, not as successful as other people, right? But at the same time, she's doing so much work and she's doing, you know, so much innovative stuff that just made me pause and go like, oh, I need to learn from this person. You know, I think we can learn from everybody. It doesn't matter how big or small you are. I think you can learn from everybody. For the question of role models, I definitely have role models. Or like people I respect quite a bit or look up to quite a bit, and that would be Outcast and Woler. Outcast is another YouTuber, and also he doesn't really stream much on Twitch anymore, but when he does, yeah. Yeah, I respect them and quite a bit because they made it possible for people like me to make content. To, you know, and their work ethic is so good. Very, like, that's what I want to do, you know. So yeah.
And what are, I don't know, I love these number games, but I'm bad with numbers, so at the same time. But like, what are the 3 things that you learn from your role models about doing a successful, running a successful streaming channel? Maybe two things, maybe one thing. You know, it's up to you.
I think the biggest thing is consistency. Right, you can't just be active for one period of time and then disappear and then come back. You have to have the consistency. It doesn't matter how slow or fast it is, you just need to have a consistency. It's the same case with ESO, right? So it's all about time. We're going back to time again, as a resource and also as a asset to manage. So if you can manage your time
Everything
very
goes
well,
back to StarCraft.
everything goes
everything
goes back to StarCraft. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it really does. And how well you manage that time and how consistent you can be contributes to a lot, not just to your growth as a player in the ESO, but also as a content creator. Yeah, that's the biggest thing I've learned from people like Outcast or other people, other content creators. Consistency.
How do the streamers in the ESO community, and we can talk about other communities, but we are talking about ESO in particular. How do streamers in the ESO community build a good reputation online? And by good reputation, I mean whatever you mean. Good reputation.
Oh.
There's no standard definition for this.
It depends on what kind of creator or streamer they are. So let's say you are a creator or streamer that focuses primarily on PvP. You actually need to perform really well. Because if you're dying all the time in PvP, or your builds aren't working, who's gonna listen to you? So
unless they enjoy that, right?
Oh, yeah, unless they enjoy that, right? But also at the same time, good reputation. Well, good reputation as in, like, this is a knowledgeable person, this is a resource I go to. That's what I mean by good reputation in this case, but also by good reputation, like, are they fun? Are they fun to hang out with? Are they just kind of relaxing? Or are they, like, just fun to hang out with? If we mean by that good reputation, there's plenty of people like that, regardless of PvP.
Do you have a good reputation in the ESO community?
I legitimately do not know.
Because you said, and I'm being sneaky here, if you will, a little bit, because you said that some people see you as a toxic person, which is their perception, of course. So you don't have, you can't influence how other people see you, but and sometimes it's their perception, and it has nothing to do with reality, but they don't care, right? So, but I was just wondering that how you see. So if you think about it and you pause and you think about all the comments that you get or feedback you get, do you think that other people think of you as someone who is reputable and has all these qualities that you just talked about?
I would say it depends on the demographic you're asking. Like, if you're asking people who have, I guess going back to the good reputation definition of, like, are they a good resource? Are they knowledgeable? Sure, I can see that in terms of a good reputation, but in terms of, like, maybe a sociable personality and stuff like that, maybe not. Probably not. No.
So you have to do two things at once, right? You have to be good at the game, but you also have to be perceived as a nice person or something like that, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's a certain point though at which the perception of your persona is much more important though than your skill. Yeah, there's a limit, because if you're really good at the game and you're always putting down people or insulting them or, like, acting arrogant or whatever, you're like, no one's gonna want to play with you in the end. Some people, there's some personalities that will, like, endure it for the time, But then once like you're knocked down the peg, they're gonna throw you away faster than a dirty napkin at McDonald's, right? Like there's a certain point at which you can be good as like, the best player, but if you're gonna act really bad, you're not gonna last long. But yeah, so I think the perception of yourself or perception of an individual is much more important than the skill play. Sure, the skill play is still there, but I think in the grand scheme of things, with numbers and stuff like that, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't.
And a lot of people might, or maybe some people might consider popularity as a good thing, especially in the age of the internet, like influencers, right? All those like TikTok, Instagram, so forth. But let's focus on, of course, gaming and streaming. That is it a good thing, though? So is it something that you want to achieve, that being really popular, whatever it means to you, again? But
yeah, sure.
Kind of.
I think everyone.
Are you scared of being very popular, and then people will?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I think people are crazy, or not crazy. But like, I think people are like really susceptible to their own misperception or perceptions, whatever, of reality or of people. And I think obviously the more popular someone gets, there's going to be, you know, polarized opposites of someone who really loves you and someone who really hates you. And I think that's scary. You know, that's definitely scary. Like either way is scary. If someone really loves you, then that's really that's kind of disturbing. But if someone really hates you, that's also kind of, you know, it's really also disturbing. It's hard to explain.
No. I think I get it.
Yeah,
what you mean. It's the two extremes. So
yeah,
it's just
there's no in between.
There's nothing in between.
Yeah, no matter how much I say, you know, I don't matter, or whatever, people will still put me on the pedestal and be like, oh no, you're, you know, what you say matters, or what you do, whatever matters, right? Because for some reason, just because, you know, I make videos or whatever, somehow my word is worth more than someone else, which is not true at all. Like, I consider myself to be of equal value, or of equal standing to anyone, and that should be the way things are. But people are crazy.
Yeah, but you also have those skills and that knowledge that a lot of people, including me, lack of the game.
But,
so,
well, I told you earlier,
also,
you know, you have a PhD.
And a PhD means absolutely nothing.
I
I'm
mean,
not a better person than other people.
No, it goes back to time. How do you get the skills? How do you get the experience? How do you get the knowledge? In ESO,
well,
time. How do you get a PhD?
It's a
5 years, right? You know?
6 years, yes.
Yeah, okay. It's 6 years for you?
Endurance
okay.
and persistence. So similar to being an ESO streamer, right? You have to persist, and you also have to endure a lot of things that are not that nice, right? Or not that how to say this? Not that helpful, right? And I was just wondering that, based on your perception, has your popularity evolved over time? And if so, how?
Evolved as in, like...
That's a very weird question, I know.
Like grown?
But I just want to see... So you started like 2 years ago, right? And compared to that point, where are you now?
Far ahead of where I was 2 years ago. Yeah. I mean, nobody was watching me 2 years ago, or 3 years ago, or whatever. Nobody cared. And when my first Twitch streams, like right now we have 114 people listening to our little interview here, but 2 years ago it'd be like 1-2 viewers. So I think numbers was, yeah, it's grown. As for popularity evolving.
What do you think if I went to YouTube right now, and if I Google, not Google, but basically it's Google,
same thing,
owned by
yes.
Google. So
Yeah.
it's the same. Okay, I can use it, right? So I'm not that stupid. So I Google good PvE stem, I don't know, Warden build. Would your name pop up? Would I see, I don't know, maybe the 10th or maybe the 5th or maybe the 3rd or maybe the 1st video would be yours? What do you think? Because I tried it and I'm curious about your perception.
Because I haven't really made a same Warden build, so probably
No,
it won't show
that
up.
was just a silly, but would I, okay, so good, okay, all right. I see what you're doing here. Good PvE, I don't know, okay.
Oh,
so
good
if
PvE build, okay.
Okay, right now, okay. So, and you're trying this out. Please don't do that. I'm just looking. Please don't. Please don't. It's just I'm curious about your perception.
Oh, the perception. Okay, I thought you were like legitimately like okay.
No,
okay.
Sorry,
I get it.
that was
Okay.
unclear. That was a bad question on my
I
side.
need like number 9, number 10 on the list, probably. That's my perception. Yeah.
So basically, if somebody looks you up based on what they are looking for, your name usually pops up. I'm just saying that. So I ran a lot of different things. So I'm just saying that. I just at the end, almost at the end of you, so I can be more honest in a way that I can be more, But yeah, your name usually pops up, so it's very easy to find you.
That's cool. I didn't know that.
So it's also kind of like Hunger Games, right? A little bit.
Hunger Games.
In being a popular streamer.
Yes.
Going to the top. So what are some strategies that can help you reach the top, whatever it means, right?
So with this question, I understand the premise.
Yeah, I like throwing out random.
Yeah, I understand the
culture
premise. I understand the premise
references.
though. It's a good analogy.
Yeah,
to
I
be
know.
honest, actually.
I know. That's
So yeah, just exactly. It's like the Hunger Games to a degree. So there's 2 ways you can go about it as a streamer, YouTuber. You can you can grow by, I guess, sabotaging people. You can grow by dismantling other people. Sure, you can somehow make content off of that. Somehow, I know there are plenty of channels out there that do that. There's also the other way, where also in the Hunger Games you work together, and I think that's more sustainable and more beneficial for everybody involved, for obvious reasons.
Because like you said, you can be a very good player, but you have a very nasty personality, and at the end, nobody will want to work with you, right?
Right.
But on the other hand, a short term, being a troll or being like, the typical YouTube person, it can definitely help you become more popular, maybe. I don't know if it's the right word though, because people will
like any
watch your
attention is
videos.
good attention.
Yeah, get the attention. Perfect.
Right. Any attention is good attention. Yeah, I get that. I understand that. But
Did you do that before? I'm just curious. Did you do that before, that you were kind of like a troll to some extent to attract attention?
No. I don't think so. Maybe people will see me as that way, but I don't think I've ever done something where I'm like, hey, look at me. But oh, never mind. Just kidding. Or something like that. I don't know.
And they have these opinions about you because you have an opinion and you dare to say things, you call out things. That's why
sure.
they.
Some things, yeah. Not everything, but yeah, some things, yeah. Like what you talked about earlier. It's just people's perception. And I think people perceive it that way with a lot of people because there are people who do that. So they automatically assume, oh, okay, this is clickbait, or this is just someone seeking attention or whining about something just to have some views or whatever. And honestly, like, they don't really know what goes on behind the scenes with view counts or anything like that. Like, one view is like 0.00002 cents. It's like it's meaningless. Like for that kind of attention, you would need to be in the millions or hundreds of thousands at the minimum. So,
but on the other hand, YouTube, and I have more experience with YouTube, it basically encourages you to do that because you have to stand out, so you have to be very clickbaity. in a way that it's like, okay, it's not like TMZ, but it's basically like a little bit like some drama, some, so don't you think that there's like kind of like a pressure on you to be that person, to create something like that will stand out? Or you think it's totally
yes and no.
Mm-hmm.
And that also kind of ties back into what people don't understand about behind the scenes. Like, it's not just about like, there's different elements at play here in regards to why someone will watch your video, like the thumbnail or the title or something. But all of that is kind of like irrelevant because the YouTube algorithm is based on a variety of other factors, like how many of your subscribers are watching the video, how many comments are there, and how how many, like, in what time frame are there, how many views did this video get? 20,000 views in the first 10 hours. So that's more likely to be recommended by YouTube to other players. So it's a lot more than just trying to clickbait people. It's also realizing the fact that there's actually a variety of complicated factors with the algorithm in pushing out content or making your content more available. It's really, I don't know, it's not very dependable. It's kind of lucky. It's kind of like a luck of the draw. So even if you want this attention, like short term, like, it's not gonna again be sustainable. If that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Right.
And how do you keep the flame alive in a way that, how do you stay motivated? How do you stay kind of like
not burn out? Like, not burn out or anything, just okay.
Yeah. What helps you, or who helps you, maybe?
In the end, I think I just want to be happy. That keeps me going. That's really it.
And it makes you happy. Streaming,
Yeah.
I mean.
I think it makes me happy. Well, yeah.
Perfect. All right, I think that's it.
Okay.
I know a lot of questions. I know. I'm also a psychologist, so we love asking a lot of questions. But thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Do you have any questions for me, or did I miss something? I probably did. But did I miss something that you think is important and I should have asked questions about it?
Do you guys think you should have asked something else?
Would you like to add anything or something to this interview?
I can't really think of something. I guess, like, going back to my first question I asked before the interview, I realized that you told me what the information gathering is, but is this for the purpose of like a specific thesis or what would that be? I'm kind of curious. Is it?
That's an excellent question, and it's very, very important to know that. So we're going to, or I'm going to write an article, an academic article on this that I'm going to share with you at the end, of course. When it's done, it's still in the middle of the data collection.
I'm familiar.
And then I'm going to share that with you about the insights that I or other people got from this. But it's full 100% like research, like just academic purposes, but also my personal interest. So you can tell that I'm really interested in this field, and I also I was really looking forward to interview you because I was really interested in your opinion, and you shared so many great stuff. So that made me think about a lot of stuff. So I went off record because you raised so many important issues that I wanted to learn more about your perceptions about the reality of being a streamer, right? So the end product is a research article, but it's probably going to be also like maybe a blog post or something like that. So it's more available to people who don't like reading boring stuff. Like academic articles are not the most.
They're not boring.
Yeah, you know that. So it's not the most fun to. So you don't say that. Oh, I'm so looking forward to read.
I'm looking forward to it.
Like 5 articles, right? So nobody says that, unless that person has some issues. But so the end product is always like a research article for this one, and then I'm also planning to do something that is more for the public and more for people who are interested in this, but they don't want to read a 20-page long boring article about this.
So what is the premise of the paper or the article? Like
the premise is building a career, building a career as a streamer. So I'm doing these interviews because I want to know how people start this career, why they do it, and how they keep going. And these are the 3 things that I was interested in, and how you make sure that you are happy as a streamer, right? So whether like maybe creating content, like you said, makes you happy, maybe reaching milestones makes you happy, and there's so many different opinions on this, and yours is that you like doing this because it makes you happy, and that's why you're doing this, and I think it's such an important motivation.
Was it due to the advent of the COVID pandemic where you became interested in streamers?
Yeah, I would say that.
Now it's becoming more widely known. I mean, Gordon Ramsay recently is like, "Oh, what's Twitch?" Right? So.
Oh yeah, that was a thing. But I'm also kind of like a gamer, so.
Okay, that's cool.
And and ruined my life because why would you have fun when you can go a veteran dungeon and get killed several times because you have no understanding of basic mechanics, because nobody told you that, right? And this is, I think that's you're also, or showed you how to do it. So this is also your goal, to show how to do it and die less times, right? Maybe not 5 times, but maybe 3 times. And that's much better than dying 5 times. So. And yeah, so that's it. And once I'm done with the data collection and the writing, it will take a lot of time. I have your email address. I'm just going to send you everything.
Oh, perfect.
And I will share everything with you.
Do you play ESO on PC or what platform?
Yes,
or server?
yes, on PC. Yeah.
NA?
I'm a PC person. Yeah.
PC NA?
Yes, but also in Europe, because I'm from Europe. You can hear my accent. So I'm from Europe, and that's why I'm also on the European servers. So that's why.
How far do you get?
Yeah, but all my friends are on European server, which is another craziness. But I'm on the North American server too, which is, based on my experience, it's much more competitive than the European server. But
is it? I think EU is probably more competitive at this point. Let's see.
European server is like
there's a lot. There's a lot.
Like
of
a lot of
EU.
PPs, but it's also like kind of like a lot of like, oh, let's walk around, let's look at the nature. And then the American server is more about like, let's collect those resources and sell it for good money. And then so you know what I mean? It's a little bit different, but it's also good to have that that duality, I think, because in so many other ways they're so much alike. So
how far are you into ESO? Like, what's your level or CP or?
CP, I think I just reached 13, 15, like.
Oh, okay.
CP. So yeah.
You should add me on EU and NA.
Yeah, I usually, right now I'm doing a lot of PvP, because why would you have fun when you can do PvP and die in 1 second?
Okay, we should PvP together.
Okay, sure.
I'll email you my account.
My main characters are on the European server, so,
okay.
But I lag out, and then I press something that I didn't want to press, and then die. And so I'm also a good support character, and I'm a good healer. I'm not a good DPS though, so I suck at that. But I'm a very good support character, especially when it comes to healing. I'm good. But DPS, no, that's not my cup of tea, unfortunately.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, sure. I mean, you know my email address. I know your email address, and I can also share my other email address, because this is the official university email address, but I have my other Gmail. So sure, yeah, let's.
Yeah, it's part of you.
Unless you you have to be patient with me because I'm like.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty patient.
Okay, but thank you. I appreciate it. But
yeah, hell yeah.
You know, it's a different genre, like you said. It's also that.
It's,
I like the
it's
social
solid time.
aspect.
Oh yeah, the social aspect is amazing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's part of why I stuck around for so long.
All right, but thank you so much. And of course, we spoke so much that it's already 1:20. So, but I really appreciate it and thank you so much. I feel terrible though because you didn't.
No,
really sleep.
no, it's fine. This is normally me, like 4 hours of sleep or something.
Why would you sleep when you can play, right?
Exactly.
So that was me too a few years ago. So, but also coffee or energy drink. What makes you keep? What helps you?
I don't drink caffeine or coffee.
Wow.
Right? Yeah, I don't do that. I don't do any of the energy drinks. That's
Wow.
I think caffeine is a drug, and people would depend on it too much. So I don't touch that stuff.
I feel hurt when I see that. But I love coffee.
Oh yeah. People love coffee, but when people get off of coffee,
those people.
But when people
Like
get off of
you,
coffee after they drink it for so long, it's like withdrawal. I mean, it is withdrawal. Like they go and like they have these symptoms. They like.
But it's better than crack cocaine.
That's a drug, you know.
It's better than crack cocaine. That's why I keep.
Oh yeah, it's better.
I'd rather
than
drink coffee than crack cocaine.
Sure.
So, and then you end up being at a CircleK, and there's a lot of regret there.
No, I didn't
but
forget.
coffee is good, tea is
You're
good,
next.
and water is even better. So
Yeah.
then you drink water, and that's it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Water is better than water.
All right.
Yeah.
That is. I admire you, but I'm totally not jealous. Let's say that. And that was very ironic because, of course, I'm jealous because you can do it without coffee. So I want to know your secret. So good for you. But thank you so much again. And then I will just send you another email with additional details, and that's it. So, and if you have any more questions or any more comments, just please let me know.
All right. Thank you so much for the interview.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate your time. Have a wonderful weekend. Take care and don't talk to strangers.
Yep. Have a good one.
Thank you, you too. Bye bye.